G'day guys, hope you're doing great. It's time for some more Blink 182. I've had this one requested a bunch. It's Stockholm Syndrome. As we've come to expect from Travis Barker, the drum part is pretty interesting. It kind of sounds like it turns around a bit, but hopefully once I've explained the way that I'm hearing it, it'll make more sense to you and then you'll be able to get up and jamming along to the song in no time. So let's hop on the kit and I'll show you what I've worked out. The way I feel the intro is that it comes in on the end of 3, but it probably doesn't really. If you're able to feel it as if it's the end of 1, then you'll just be able to play straight through. But because I feel it on the end of 3, I'm going to throw in a 2/4 bar a little way into the song, and that's going to turn us around to how the song actually goes. So stick with me on my way, see how you go. Hopefully it makes sense, but if you want, you could definitely flip it around and feel it on the end of 1 for the whole of the song. So that being the case, after 3, we come in like this. 1 and 2 and 3. One, two, three. For the last time, the feel is just a little bit different, and then we have that tiny little drum solo, and then there's the 3 kicks in a row, and that's where I'm going to put the 2/4 bar to turn us back around onto beat 1, and then the accents are going to be on the end of 1 for the rest of the song. So this is what that will sound like. Then we're going to leave off beat 1, hit the crash on the end of 1, and then we are into our groove for the verses. So let me break that down slowly. 2, 3, 4, 1. Two, three, four. I did check out a couple of clips of them playing this song live, and Travis definitely moves the orchestration around and adds a bunch of fills as well, so feel free to do that. But in terms of listening to the recording, that is what I can hear. The 2 toms, and we've got that sneaky little snare drum coming in on the end, which throws the whole beat around and sounds really cool, but is a bit confusing at first. As we move along, there is a little fill on the snare drum, and that's going to go over the bar as well and come out on the end of 1, just like this. So we just used that same verse groove for the whole of that first section, and then when we move on, we've kind of got more of a breakbeat kind of thing going on, and the first one's different, then the rest of them just repeat. So that sounds like this. And then the next version, which repeats itself. In the next section, we're just going to play a 16th note groove with both hands over on the hi-hats. Eventually, we'll add a couple of sizzles and a couple of extra snare drums, but for starters, it just goes like this. For the next couple of bars, we're going to open the hi-hats on beat 1 and just let that hang out for at least an 8th note, maybe even a 1/4 note, up to you. And then in the 8th bar of the phrase, we've just got one extra snare drum, which just gives us this tiny little fill and just kind of breaks up that pattern just a little bit. So that goes like this. Eventually we have a stop at the end of that groove just on the hi-hats. We're going to break for a bar and then play a fill on the very last beat of the next bar, going into what I would say is the bridge section up on the crash cymbal. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Every now and again we have those 4 snares to the bar, a couple of extra times, not just at the end of the 4 bars, but I'm sure you'll be able to use your ears and work that out. At the end we have a fill that's really similar to one we played in the verse, and that's going to take us into our outro, which means we're nearly at the end of the song. So the fill going back into our verse groove sounds like this. We've just got a couple more fills and then we're at the end of the song. We're just going to play through the first verse the first time through, just the same as we did in the beginning, but then we're going to add a couple of extra fills and they just cycle. There's 2 of them. There's one and then the other and then the first one again and then the other one again. So let me play both of those fills for you, just like this. And then we are up to the very last fill, which is just the last couple of bars of the song. Now, I couldn't make this fill out cleanly from the recording that I was listening to, but I've come up with something that I think is very close, and obviously you could make up your own thing, or you could grab this and just orchestrate it a bit differently, but it's basically just a 16th note rhythm, moving around the kit a little bit, and off on crashes on beat 1. So slowly, it will go like this. And that brings us to the end of Stockholm Syndrome by Blink-182. At first it might be a little bit confusing, but just stick with it. If you know the song pretty well, hopefully what I've explained kind of clicks together and then it all makes sense and you'll be able to play the song in no time. But otherwise, happy practicing, and I'll see you very soon at the next lesson.